The rain-slicked streets of Manhattan gleamed like shattered glass under the storm's relentless fury, and I, Alex Harper, clutched my soaked portfolio like a lifeline as thunder cracked open the sky. 28 years old, with dreams bigger than my empty bank account, I had poured every ounce of my soul into blueprints for Haven Brew, a cozy coffee shop sanctuary for queer folks tired of hiding in the shadows of this so-called city of dreams. But as I pushed through the revolving doors of First Horizon Bank, heart pounding like a war drum, I never imagined that the lone officer waiting inside would shatter my world more completely than any rejection ever could. His name was Jordan Reyes, and from the moment our eyes locked across that sterile lobby, I felt the air thicken with something electric forbidden. 32, with the kind of quiet confidence that made your knees weak, he extended a hand that lingered just a beat too long, his green eyes, framed by lashes that should have been illegal, scanning me not as a client, but as a man on the brink of revelation. "Mr. Harper," he said, voice smooth as aged whiskey, "let's see if we can turn those dreams into reality." Little did I know, his offer would bind us in a web of desire, danger, and a love that demanded everything. I slid into the leather chair across from his desk, the scent of his cologne, sandalwood and citrus, mingling with the faint ozone of the storm outside. My fingers trembled as I unclasped the portfolio, spilling sketches of warm wooden counters, rainbow-hued mugs, and nooks designed for whispered confessions under strings of fairy lights. Haven Brew wasn't just a business. It was my rebellion against a childhood in rural Ohio where different meant whispers behind barn doors, where I'd buried my first crush on the quarterback under layers of denial until college cracked me open like an egg. Now, in the heart of New York, I was ready to build something real, something that said we belonged. But the numbers? They laughed in my face, startup costs climbing like ivy on a brownstone. My credit score a casualty of freelance graphic design gigs that barely covered my shoebox apartment in Brooklyn. Jordan leaned forward, his tie loosened just enough to reveal the hollow of his throat, and flipped through my pages with fingers that moved like they were tracing secrets. "This is bold, Alex. Authentic. In a city that chews up dreamers, you're offering space for vulnerability." His paws hung heavy, laced with an undercurrent I couldn't place. Was it pity or something sharper, like recognition? I swallowed hard, forcing my voice steady. "It's more than coffee. It's a haven. For people like me. Like us, maybe." The words slipped out unbidden, my cheeks burning as his gaze lifted, locking onto mine with an intensity that made the room spin. He didn't flinch. Instead, a slow smile curved his lips, the kind that promised storms and sunrises in equal measure. "Like us," he echoed softly, his voice dropping to a timbre that vibrated through my chest. We talked numbers then, rates, collateral, projections, but beneath the spreadsheets, a current pulled us under. He shared snippets of his own life. Born in the Bronx to Puerto Rican parents who ran a bodega, clawing his way to an MBA on scholarships and sheer grit, now a rising star in the bank's private lending division. "I get the fight," he said, eyes darkening, "hiding parts of yourself to fit the mold. But this," he tapped my sketch of the shop's pride flag mural, "this is freedom." By the time the clock struck 6, the storm had eased to a drizzle, and my application lay approved on his desk, a miracle wrapped in fine print. But as I rose to leave, gratitude twisting with that inexplicable pull in my gut, Jordan's hand caught my wrist. Gentle, but unyielding. "Wait, there's more. An offer. Off the books." His breath was warm against my ear, close enough that I could count the flecks of gold in his eyes. "Dinner. Tonight. Let me show you how First Horizon really rewards visionaries." My pulse thundered, every rational thought screaming to bolt. This was my future on the line, not some bar pickup. Yet, as his thumb brushed my pulse point, sending sparks up my arm, I heard myself whisper, "Lead the way." We stepped into the twilight, the city humming around us like a lover's sigh, and I wondered if I'd just signed up for salvation or signed my heart away. The restaurant was a hidden gem in the village, all exposed brick and candlelight flickering like conspirators. Jordan ordered for us, paella rich with saffron and secrets, wine that tasted of sun-drenched vineyards. And as the night unfolded, so did he. Not the polished banker, but Jordan the man. The one who'd come out at 25, only to watch his family fracture like cheap porcelain, his father calling him ungrateful before slamming the door on holidays forever. "I built walls higher than Wall Street," he confessed, his fort pausing midair, vulnerability etching lines around his mouth that made him achingly human. But you're Haven. It's like you're daring the world to look away. I reached across the table, my fingers intertwining with his, rough from weekend boxing at the gym, calluses that spoke of battles unseen, daring it to see us. I murmured, and in that touch, the world narrowed to the heat of his skin, the way his breath hitched. We lingered until the waiter cleared his throat, then spilled onto the cobblestone streets, laughter bubbling as we dodged puddles, his arms slung casually over my shoulders like it belonged there. At my subway stop, he pulled me into an alley shadowed by fire escapes, the city pulse fading to our ragged breaths. His lips found mine, soft at first, tentative, then hungry, a kiss that tasted of salt and surrender, his hands framing my face as if I were fragile art. When we broke apart, foreheads pressed, he whispered, "This isn't just dinner, Alex. That loan? It's mine to greenlight. But I want more. Partner with me. Not on paper, but here." His palm flattened over my heart, and mine over his, twin rhythms sinking in the dark. I nodded, words failing, as the train rumbled below like an omen. Days blurred into a fever dream of stolen moments. Mornings at my drafting table, sketching Haven's final touches with Jordan's coffee-fueled encouragement texted from across the river. Afternoons in his sleek midtown loft, bodies tangled in sheets that smelled of him, exploring each other with a reverence born of too many years alone. He was fire, passionate debates over microaggressions at work, his fists clenching when he described the boardroom's veiled homophobia. Yet tender, tracing the scars on my knuckle from a bar fight in college, kissing each one like absolution. But cracks spiderweb beneath the bliss. Whispers at the bank reached me through a mutual friend. Jordan's fast track to VP was teetering, his unorthodox approvals drawing eyes from the suits upstairs. "He's bending rules for you," she warned over cheap diner eggs. "Be careful. He's got a reputation for burning bright, then out." I brushed it off, chalking it to jealousy, until the first threat arrived, an anonymous email, time-stamped from a bank IP, reading, "Dreams die when favors turn scandals. Back off, or watch it all crumble." My stomach nodded as I showed Jordan that night, his face paling under the loft's pendant lights. "It's nothing," he lied, pulling me close, but his embrace felt like armor, not affection. Just corporate snakes. Yet sleep evaded us, the city's siren wail mocking our fragile peace. The days following that email stretched like taut wires, every buzz of my phone a potential detonation. I threw myself into Haven's groundwork, scouting the lease in Chelsea, a sunlit corner space with bay windows perfect for displaying local queer artists' work, while Jordan buried himself in ledgers, his texts growing clipped, laced with apologies. "Late meeting. Miss you." But when we met for lunch at a falafel joint near the bank, his eyes darted to the door like a hunted animal, and I couldn't ignore the shadows blooming under them. "Talk to me." I pressed, my falafel forgotten, the hum of Greenwich Village pedestrians a distant roar. He sighed, running a hand through his hair, leaving it adorably disheveled. "It's escalating." The higher-ups caught wind of the loans. "Flexibility. No collateral beyond your vision." They smell favoritism. Favoritism. The word twisted like a knife, implying our nights weren't fate, but folly. "And us," I whispered, dread coiling in my gut. He cupped my cheek, thumb stroking my jaw with that devastating gentleness. "Us is the only real thing here. I swear." But doubt festered, a poison seeping into our rhythm. That evening, as we walked hand in hand through Washington Square Park, leaves crunching underfoot, buskers strumming folk tunes that tugged at my heart, his phone shattered the idol. He stepped away, voice low and urgent, returning with a pallor that chilled me. "Family drama," he muttered, but I glimpsed the caller ID. "Board chair confidential." The lie stung, sharper than rain. Back at his place, passion ignited as always, his lips mapping my collarbone, hands gripping my hips with desperate need. But midway, he froze, eyes distant. "Jordan," I breathed, propping on elbows slick with sweat. He rolled off, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy whirl. "My ex Marcus. He's on board now." Climbed the ladder while I stalled. The confession spilled then, raw and ragged. Marcus, the golden boy who'd promised forever in grad school, only to shatter it when a promotion demanded a stable image, meaning a sham marriage to a woman, leaving Jordan adrift in a sea of what-ifs. "I thought I was over it," he admitted, voice cracking, "until he saw us together at the gala last month. Now he's weaponizing the loan, threatening to expose everything. Everything." The word hung, heavy with implications. Not just our love, but the quiet bribes Jordan had navigated to secure his position, the gray area deals that kept him afloat in a world that devoured the vulnerable. My heart ached for him, this man who'd given me wings, now clipped by ghosts. We lay entwined, my head on his chest, listening to the thunder of his pulse. "Fight with me," I murmured, fingers tracing the tattoo on his ribs, a small anchor, inked after Marcus's betrayal. "Haven isn't just mine anymore. It's ours." He kissed my temple, a vow in the press of his lips, but sleep brought no solace, dreams twisted with boardroom inquisitions and shuttered doors. Morning brought action. I rallied my network, queer entrepreneurs from Pride Mixers, a fierce lawyer named Riley who'd fought her own battles for trans rights. We met in a back room at a dyke bar in the East Village, air thick with cigarette smoke and resolve, plotting how to bulletproof the loan with community-backed guarantees. Jordan joined via video, his suit impeccable but eyes haunted. "How about a counterplay?" he said, voice steadying. "An anonymous donor, old client, who owes me. But it risks blowback." Blowback came swift. That afternoon, as I signed the lease for Haven, my phone lit with alerts. Social media ablaze with smears, anonymous posts branding me a gold-digging opportunist cozying up to bank insiders. Photos, grainy shots of Jordan and me at the park, his arm around me, circulated like venom, hashtags twisting our joy into scandal. Bank boy toy trended locally, comments slicing deep. Another queer draining the system. Pathetic, can't build without sleeping his way up. I slammed my laptop shut in the empty storefront, glass walls mocking my isolation, tears hot on my cheeks. How had love turned to this circus? Jordan arrived an hour later, bursting through the door with takeout tie and a fierce hug that smelled of rain and regret. "Marcus," he growled, setting bags down. "He's leaking all." But I confronted him, told him to back off, or I'd go public with his skeletons too. Skeletons. The word chilled me. "What skeletons?" I demanded, pulling back, searching his face. He hesitated, then deflated. "The marriage? It's a front. He's still seeing men on the down low, me included, once post-breakup. Hypocrite extraordinaire." Revulsion twisted my gut, but beneath it, empathy for Jordan's pain. We'd both danced with devils to survive. That night, we fortified Haven's skeleton, hammering shelves, painting walls in soft lavenders and blues, each brushstroke a defiance. His laughter echoed as paint splattered his shirt, leading to a chase that ended in kisses against the ladder, bodies pressed in the scent of fresh latex. "You're my anchor now," I whispered, and he smiled, real and radiant, the first crack of light in our storm. But storms gather. A week later, the board summoned Jordan, a performance review that stretched into midnight. He returned hollow-eyed, collapsing onto my couch in Brooklyn, where fairy lights twinkled like hesitant stars. "They want my resignation," he said flatly, handing me a Scotch neat. "Or the full audit on your loan." Marcus pushed it, says it's ethics or else. Ethics. The irony burned. I knelt before him, taking his hands in mine, calluses rough against my palms. "Then we fight dirty. Leak his truth. Rally the community. Haven opens in a month. We turn this into our story." Fire reignited in his eyes, that green blaze I adored. "Our story," he echoed, pulling me up, our kiss sealing the pact amid the clutter of my life. Sketchpads, pride pins, a life half-built. We dove in, emails to allies, a viral thread on queer forums exposing corporate hypocrisy without naming names. Supporters flooded in, donations for Haven, messages of solidarity that patched my frayed soul. Jordan's resignation loomed like a guillotine, but in the quiet hours we'd steal away to rooftop bars overlooking the Hudson, his head on my shoulder, whispering futures, joint ventures, travels to Provincetown, a world where love didn't demand sacrifice. Yet sacrifice circled. The night before his deadline, Marcus cornered us at a fundraiser, glittering gala for inclusive finance, irony dripping from chandeliers. Tall, blonde, with a smile like polished steel, he sidled up during toasts, champagne flute in hand. "Jordan, darling," he purred, eyes flicking to me dismissively. Playing house with the artist? Cute. But resign, or I drag you both down, starting with his pretty little dream. Jordan's jaw clenched, arm tightening around my waist. Touch him, and your closet bursts wide. The air crackled, guess oblivious, but I felt the precipice. Marcus laughed, low and lethal. Try me. I've got friends in high places, yours truly included. We fled to the balcony, city lights a glittering sea below, wind whipping my hair. I can't let him destroy you, Jordan said, voice breaking, turning to me with tears unshed. I'll sign the papers. Keep the loan clean. Panic surged. Lose him? No. I gripped his lapels, pulling him close. We faced this together. Or not at all. Our foreheads touched, breaths mingling, and in that suspended moment, love felt infinite, unbreakable. Dawn broke over the skyline like a hesitant promise, painting Jordan's loft in hues of rose and gold as we plotted our stand. Sleepless, we'd mapped it out on napkins stained with midnight coffee. A press release, time for Haven's soft opening, outing the bank's bias through stories, not accusations, but truths from queer clients stonewalled for loans. Humanize it, I insisted, pacing the Persian rug, my bare feet sinking into its weave. Show how their ethics starve dreams like ours. Jordan watched from a bed, sheets pooled around his waist, his gaze a mix of pride and terror. You're a force, Alex. Reckless, brilliant. He rose, crossing to me in 2 strides, his body warm and solid against mine as he kissed my shoulder blade. But if this backfires, the unspoken hung. Eviction, blacklisting, a love reduced to footnotes in tabloids. It won't, I vowed, turning to claim his mouth, slow and deep, pouring certainty into every sweep of tongue. We made love then, unhurried, as sunlight crept across the floor, his hands reverent on my hips, my nails raking his back in silent pleas. Afterward, tangled and sated, we dressed for battle. Me in a button-down with my rainbow pin gleaming defiantly, him in a suit that hugged his frame like armor. The soft opening was electric. Haven's doors flung wide to a crowd of supporters, rainbow streamers fluttering from the rafters, the air rich with espresso and fresh scones baked by a trans barista named Kai. Laughter echoed off exposed beams, couples swaying to indie folk from hidden speakers, stories shared in corners like sacred rites. Jordan manned the counter beside me, sleeves rolled to elbows, flashing that megawatt smile as he frothed lattes, our fingers brushing in coded affection. Then the doors swung again, admitting Marcus like a shadow in tailored wool. Alone, no entourage, his eyes scanning the room with predatory gleam before locking on us. My stomach plummeted, but Jordan's hand found mine under the counter, squeezing. We've got this, he murmured, loud enough for Kai to nod fiercely from the espresso machine. Marcus approached, all false charm. Charming spot, almost makes up for the ethics breach. His voice carried, heads turning, murmurs rippling. I stepped forward, chin lifted. Ethics, like approving sham marriages for promotions. Gasps punctuated the air. Phones emerged, recording. His smile faltered, color draining. Careful, boy. Slander's a lawsuit waiting. But Jordan leaned in, voice steel-wrapped silk. Not slander if it's truth. And we've got witnesses, your late-night visits, the texts. Resign yourself, Marcus, or we all fall. The room held breath, a tableau of defiance. Marcus's gaze darted. To the crowd, now a wall of eyes unblinking. To the door, freedom taunting. Then, shoulders slumping, he muttered, "You win this round," and slunk out, the bell tinkling like a death knell. Cheers erupted, hugs enveloping us, but as the night waned, Jordan pulled me to the back office, door clicking shut. "It's not over," he said, forehead to mine, exhaustion etching his features. "He'll retaliate." "But God, Alex, you were magnificent." Laughter bubbled between us, dissolving into kisses that tasted of victory and vanilla from spilled syrup. Retaliation struck at dawn's edge. Jordan's phone shattered the quiet. HR, voice terse. Suspension pending investigation, effective immediately. Indefinite, they said, the word a guillotine. He hung up, face ashen, collapsing into a chair amid Haven's unpacked boxes. They twisted it, said I coerced you. The loan's under review. Rage boiled, hot and helpless. I knelt, framing his face. Coerced? They know us. Our truth will outshine their lies. But doubt not. Without his job, our safety net frayed. I rallied again. Riley drafting cease and desists, community petitions surging online, Save Haven trending with tales of resilience that mirrored our own. Through it, Jordan unraveled thread by thread. Nights, he'd pace my apartment, scotch in hand, monologues spilling. Regrets over Marcus, the isolation of climbing alone, the fear that loving me meant dooming us both. I was supposed to protect you, he'd whisper, voice raw, pulling me close as if I were anchor in his storm. I'd hold him, murmuring of tomorrows, Haven thriving, us adopting a rescue dog, building a life unapologetic. Yet fractures deepened. A week in, the audit hit. Inspectors combing Haven's books, questions laced with insinuation. Personal relationship influencing terms, one sneered clipboard like a shield. I stood tall, Jordan at my side via speakerphone, our voices united in rebuttal. But privately, tears came, his silent streams down his cheeks as we lay in bed, city lights mocking through blinds. I love you, he choked, but maybe love isn't enough against this machine. Love built this, I countered, tracing his lips. It'll dismantle it too. Passion followed, fierce and reclaiming, bodies arching in the dark, gasps echoing off walls, each touch a rebellion. Dawn found us spent, resolve hardening like mortar. The turning point brewed, an unlikely alliance. Riley unearthed dirt. Marcus's own irregularities funneled through shell accounts, enough to tip scales. We held fire, waiting for the board's emergency session. Leaked agenda, promising Jordan's ouster. Instead, as reporters swarmed the bank steps, our petition, 10,000 signatures strong, forced transparency. Protesters chanted outside, rainbow flags waving like battle standards, queer voices amplified in a chorus that drowned corporate spin. Inside, Jordan faced them, suit crisp, eyes blazing. I watched via live stream from Haven, heart in throat, as he laid it bare. Not just our story, but the bank's systemic bias, stats on denied loans to LGBTQ, plus applicants stacked like ammunition. Ethics isn't a weapon, he thundered. It's a bridge. Marcus squirmed in the back row, exposed. The board recessed, tension coiling like springs. Hours later, Jordan burst into Haven, mid-rush, scooping me over the counter in a kiss that drew whoops from patrons. Reinstated. With conditions, diversity initiative my lead. Laughter, relief crashing like waves. But his whisper, amid the chaos, Marcus is out. Full exposure. Vindication tasted bittersweet. That night, atop the Empire State, private access through a friend's pull, we toasted with flutes of bubbly, city sprawling below like a conquered kingdom. To us, I said, clinking glasses, his free hand warm on my thigh. Unbreakable. His kiss was sunset sweet, promising eternities. But empires built on sand shift with the tide, and our victory's afterglow dimmed under gathering clouds. The diversity initiative thrust Jordan into spotlight. Panels, interviews, his face on finance blogs touting inclusive lending. Pride swelled in me, watching him command rooms with that effortless charisma, but envy crept unbidden. Haven hummed with locals, yet expansion dreams stalled, my nights solo as he jetted to conferences. It's temporary, he'd soothe over video calls, his hotel room backdrop a sterile contrast to my cluttered kitchen. This is for us, for more Havens. I nodded, forcing smiles, but loneliness gnawed like termites. One such night, post-shift, I wandered into a poetry slam at a nearby queer center. Verses slicing air like knives. Tales of lovers lost to ambition. Hearts bartered for boardroom thrones. A line hooked me. He climbed so high he forgot the ground. And tears pricked hot and unwelcome. Was this our future? Me grounding roots while he soared, untethered? Jordan sensed the rift upon return, arriving at dawn with airport roses and apologies wrapped in his arms. Missed you, he murmured, nuzzling my neck, but words faltered as I pulled back. It's not just missing. You're slipping away. The accusation hung, raw. He deflated, sinking to the bed's edge. The job demands it now. But you're my center, Alex. Always. We talked then, truly. Voices soft in the gray light, vulnerabilities bared like offerings. He confessed the pressure, bored eyes watchful, Marcus's allies lurking in corners, every move scrutinized. I fear losing you more than the title. My hand found his, squeezing. Then don't. Integrate me, us, into this world. Ideas sparked. Haven as pilot for the initiative, community loans funneled through my doors, our lives intertwined professionally too. Excitement reignited, but fate, that cruel puppeteer, tugged harder. 2 weeks later, during a routine checkup, procrastinated amid chaos, my doctor delivered the blow. Early-stage lymphoma, caught via fluke blood draw. Treatable, she assured, her office sterile as a vault, but aggressive. Chemo starts next month. The world tilted, diagnoses echoing like thunder in my skull. How to tell Jordan? Our fragile empire, built on dreams, now shadowed by mortality. I buried it initially, plastering normalcy, stocking Haven's shelves with organic teas, sketching murals of intertwined hands in vibrant hues. But cracks showed, fatigue weighting my limbs, appetite fleeing like a startled bird. Jordan noticed over dinner at our village haunt, his fork pausing. You're pale. What's wrong? Evasion crumbled under his gaze, that green intensity peeling layers. Tears spilled as words tumbled. Cells rogue, treatments looming, fear coiling like ivy. Horror etched his face, morphing to resolve. We'll fight this. Together. He pulled me across the table, heedless of stares, his embrace a fortress. That night, in my apartment, we mourned and planned, oncologist appointments penciled beside board meetings, his hands steady on mine, through MRIs that hummed like judgmental gods. Chemo's first round hit like a freight train, nausea roiling, hair shedding in soft clumps that clogged drains like autumn leaves. Jordan shaved my head himself, clippers buzzing in the bathroom steam, his touch tender as he kissed my scalp, bare and vulnerable. Beautiful, he whispered, eyes shimmering, and in the mirror, I saw us, raw, real, unbreakable. Haven adapted. Kai stepping up as manager, patrons bringing soups and stories, a makeshift support net woven from community threads. But darkness deepened. Whispers resurfaced. Marcus, disgraced but venomous, feeding rumors to tabloids. Banker's lover faking illness for sympathy funds. Lies metastasized online. Donations trickling to a halt. Inspections circling like vultures. Jordan raged in private, pacing our shared space. His things migrated to my Brooklyn walk-up, a quiet claiming. I'll sue him into oblivion, he growled, but I stilled him with a kiss, weak but willful. Don't. Energy for us. Instead, we countered with authenticity, a live stream from Haven, me bald and bold behind the counter, sharing my journey unfiltered. Cancer doesn't define me. Neither does hate. But love? That builds worlds. Views exploded, hearts pouring in, funds for treatment, messages from survivors that stitch my soul. Jordan's initiative bloomed too, loans flowing to queer startups, his name synonymous with hope. Yet toll mounted. His exhaustion from dual fronts, my body's betrayal in waves of fatigue that stranded me abed, staring at ceilings patterned like fate's map. One storm-lashed evening, as thunder rattled windows, he cracked. Curled beside me, for drip beeping softly, he buried his face in my neck. I can't lose you, Alex. This us, it's all I have. Sobs racked him, rare and wrenching, and I held him, frail arms circling strength. You won't. We're warriors. Dawn brought clarity. A clinical trial, experimental but promising, slots filling fast. Jordan pulled strings, his network, once corporate, now a lifeline, secure in my spot. Infusion days blurred. Needles pricking, chills racking, Jordan's vigil unwavering. Reading aloud from Queer Lit, his voice a balm. Massaging feet swollen from meds, kisses trailing like constellations. Intimacy shifted, tender explorations in stolen energy, his whispers of forever amid beeps and broths. Marry me, he said one twilight. Rings simple platinum with embedded rainbow flecks, held in trembling fingers. Not for show. For us, against everything. Tears blurred the band as I slipped it on. Yes, a whisper fierce as any vow. Word spread. Haven hosted a quiet ceremony. Friends in finery. Vows exchanged over coffee steam. Rings glinting under lights. Joy pierced the haze, a beacon. But Marcus's shadow lingered. A parcel arrived post-honeymoon. A weekend stolen in the Catskills, leaves aflame, containing dossiers, Forged docs implying Jordan's involvement in my scam diagnosis, poised for leak. Panic surged. Trial hinged on clean records, his job on ethics untainted. We confronted the beast head-on. Jordan marching to Marcus's penthouse. Me in tow despite weakness, city a blur of lights. Door opened to smugness. Honeymoon glow suits you. Marcus sneered, but faltered at our united front. It's over, Jordan said, voice thunder. Leak this, and yours goes public. Every affair, every bribe. Proof flashed on his phone, ironclad. Marcus crumpled, venom draining to plea. I was jealous. You had what I couldn't, real love. Pity flickered, but resolve held. Find it yourself. Leave us be. Door shut on his silence, a chapter closed. Relief washed, but trials persisted, side effects raging, doubts whispering. Yet, love anchored. Jordan's hand in mine through scans showing shrinkage, cheers echoing as tumors retreated. Haven thrived, expansions budding in Harlem, our legacy branching. Spring unfurled over New York like a hesitant truce, cherry blossoms dusting sidewalks as my final scan confirmed remission. A word like sunlight piercing clouds. Jordan hooped in the doctor's office, lifting me in a spin despite my protests. His laughter a melody I'd feared lost. You're a miracle, he breathed, kissing me fierce amid sterile walls, nurses averting eyes with knowing smiles. But miracles demand maintenance. Checkups loomed, scars lingered, physical and otherwise, and our bond, forged in fire, now tested by normalcy's subtle erosion. Haven's grand opening marked rebirth. Ribbons snipped under spring sun, crowds spilling onto the sidewalk, drag queens in full regalia, families with wide-eyed kids, elders sharing sepia tales of Stonewall. Jordan emceed, mic in hand, his suit traded for a casual blazer with our wedding band glinting. This isn't just a shop, he declared, arm around me. It's proof that love loans us strength. Applause thundered, my chest swelling with a pride deeper than any loan approval. Yet beneath the revelry, undercurrents stirred. Jordan's initiative ballooned. Regional expansions, him jetting to D.C. for policy briefs, his absence a ghost in our bed. I'd wake to cold sheets, brewing coffee solo, the ring on my finger a talisman against loneliness. It's for the greater good. He'd text from airports, hearts emoji chasing apologies, but resentment simmered low. Had cancer's chaos bonded us, only for success to unravel? One such night, post-shift, I drowned doubts in a solo whiskey at Haven's bar. Patrons gone, fairy lights winking conspiratorially. Kai lingered, wiping counters, her eyeliner smudged from a long day. Spill, boss. You're brooding like a bad rom-com. Laughter escaped brittle. Jordan's saving the world. Where's that leave me? She leaned in, wise beyond her 24 years. Saving you. Talk before it festers. His flight landed at midnight. I met him curbside, cab idling, words tumbling in the humid air. I feel like the side character in your story now. Hurt flashed in his eyes, raw. You're the whole damn book, Alex. We rode in charged silence, tension coiling until home, where clothes shed like old skins, bodies colliding in urgent reclamation. His mouth mapping scars faded, but remembered, my hands clutching him as if he'd vanish. I need you here, I gasped, climax cresting like confession. Not the hero, just us. He held me after, sweat slick and spent, vows renewed in whispers. Transfer coming, regional director, but local. No more flights. Relief bloomed, tentative as we planned. Weekends in the Hamptons, Haven's sister spot in Queens, lives synced like heartbeats. But fate, ever the dramatist, scripted a sequel. Marcus, presumed vanquished, resurfaced, not vengeful, but broken. A late-night call, Jordan's voice terse post-hang-up. He's in crisis. Attempted. Everything. Hospital. Empathy warred with wariness. We'd danced this tango before. Yet Jordan's plea, eyes pleading over tea, swayed me. One visit. For closure. The ward smelled of antiseptic and despair. Marcus pale and Johnny, IVs snaking like regrets. No smugness now, just hollow cheeks, eyes pleading. I hated you because I couldn't be you, he rasped, glancing between us. Free. Love. Jordan stiffened, but I squeezed his hand, bridging. Hate's a cage. Unlock it. Words flowed then. Therapy referrals, queer support lines, not absolution, but humanity extended like a lifeline. Driving home, rain pattering windshields, Jordan exhaled shakily. That was generous. I shrugged, masking the churn. We're all just trying to breathe. His hand covered mine on the gear shift, gratitude warm. That act mended something fractured in him. Our nights deepening. Slow dances in the kitchen to Nina Simone, his head on my shoulder, murmurs of gratitude threading futures. Summer scorched the city, air thick as ambition, and our lives flowered. Haven's Queen's outpost broke ground, a vibrant hub with art classes, counseling nooks. Jordan knee-deep in blueprints beside me, his tie discarded, sleeves mud-streaked. Laughter came easier, scars fading to stories told over barbecues with friends. Riley grilling steaks, Kite DJing sets that had us twirling on the rooftop. Yet Kitch Tin lingered in quiet ways. A donor gala thrust us into old orbits, suits and schmoozes, whispers trailing like smoke. An ex of Jordan's, a venture capitalist named Theo, cornered us by the bar, charm oily. Still playing house, Reyes? Careful, Harper's got that fragile vibe. Insult landed like a slap. Jordan's retort sharp, my clapback wittier, diffusing with laughter. But later, in the cab, vulnerability surfaced. Am I fragile? I asked, voice small. You pull me close. Resilient. My rock. Autumn whispered change. My 5-year scan clear, a milestone toasted with champagne on our balcony, city lights winking approval. Jordan knelt then, not proposal redux, but promise. A key to his loft, now ours fully. Build with me. Everywhere. Tears mingled with fizz, yes, a seal on horizons. But human value demands trials. A winter storm tested ours. Haven's pipes burst, floods ruining stock, insurance a labyrinth, stranding us in debt's chill. Jordan's bonus earmarked for ringers, but I balked. Not your burden. Pride clashed, words sharpening to barbs. It's ours, he snapped, storm echoing outside. Silence followed, heavy, until I bridged. Then let's shoulder it together. Rebuild became ritual, volunteers hammering alongside us, community potlucks fueling weary bones. In the chaos, love refined, arguments honing communication, makeup sex fiercer, bonds tempered like steel. Spring bloomed anew, shops resurrected grandeur, lessons etched, resilience communal, love labor shared. Years layered like patina, Haven a chain, Jordan VP of Equity Lending, me authoring a memoir, brewed in fire, tales of loans literal and metaphorical. We mentored youth, hosted pride panels, our rings worn grooves from clasped hands. Marcus? Redeemed, in therapy's grip, sending occasional notes of amends. Proof even villains seek light. One anniversary, atop the rock, our first impulsive climb. He pulled a velvet box. Not rings, but deeds. Co-ownership. Everything. Wind whipped, but his eyes held steady. From loans to legacies, you're my can't refuse. Laughter bubbled, kisses ceiling, city below a testament to journeys traversed. Decades don't erase the raw edges of beginnings, but they soften them, like waves polishing sea glass. 30 years post that fated bank visit, I stand in Haven's flagship. Now a landmark, murals evolved to digital collages of queer icons, surveying the bustle with a smile creased by time. Gray threads my hair, once tousled wild. Jordan's green eyes, still piercing, crinkle at corners, his hand, veined, steady, interlaced with mine. We've weathered recessions, pandemics, personal tempests, each forging us finer. Our story, once a scandal's whisper, echoes in boardrooms and bedrooms nationwide. Jordan's initiative morphed into federal policy. LGBTQ plus lending mandates, barriers crumbling like Berlin's Wall. Haven franchises. Coasts, each a beacon. San Francisco's with Ocean View Poetry Nights. Atlanta's hosting Southern drag brunches. Me? I consult, speak, write. Brewed in Fire, a bestseller. Sequels chronicling remissions. Adoptions, our twins, Mia and Leo, now college-bound firebrands, the quiet revolutions of enduring love. Yet nostalgia tugs on anniversaries. This one, we revisit First Horizon, rebranded Inclusive Horizon, irony not lost, Jordan guest lecturing on ethical finance to wide-eyed trainees. Post-talk, we linger in that lobby, ghosts of youth hovering, my portfolio clutched tight his desk of memory. Think they believe it started here? He muses, arm around my waist, the gesture casual as breathing. A young applicant approaches, 20-something, non-binary, sketches of a trans wellness center spilling from their bag. Eyes light on our rings, the easy intimacy. You too. Inspire. Jordan grins, that whiskey smooth, voice unchanged. Go get your loan. And remember, the best offers aren't on paper. They nod, emboldened, vanishing into offices like echoes of us. Dinner follows at our village haunt. Paella evolved, but saffron still sings. Over wine, toasts flow, to hooks that hooked hearts, to offers that offered souls. Laughter creases faces, hands tracing familiar paths under the table. Homeward, in our brownstone, Brooklyn traded for Manhattan ease. We shed layers, bodies mapped by memory. His anchor tattoo faded, my scars silvered. Love-making lingers, unhurried symphonies of touch, whispers weaving vows refreshed. Midnight finds us on the fire escape, city humming lullabies, stars pricking velvet sky. Can't refuse you, Jordan murmurs, head on my shoulder, breath warm. Never could. I tilt his chin, kissing the promise. Good, because I'm all in, always was. Humanity's value? Not in grand gestures alone, but in the daily defiances, choosing vulnerability over walls, community over isolation, love as revolution. We built that, from alones leap to legacies lived loud. And in the quiet, as sleep claims us entwined, I know, some offers redefine worlds, but ours? It redeemed one heart at a time. Our twins return for holidays, Mia with her activist fire, protests planned, eyes like Jordan's, Leo quieter, coding apps for queer dating, my Hazel inherited. Grandkids toddle soon, rainbow blocks in tiny fists, stories of Papa Alex and Dad's bank adventure, bedtime lore. Friends gather, Riley retired but feisty, Kai owning her chain of bakeries, the tapestry rich, threads intertwined. Challenges persist, health flares, societal backslides, but we pivot, therapy joint, advocacy renewed. Jordan's semi-retirement yields mentorships. Mine, workshops on storytelling as survival. Travels beckon, Paris cafes echoing Haven's warmth, Tokyo pride parades hand in hand. One crisp fall we hike the Catskills, anniversary ritual, leaves a riot of fire. Atop a ridge, vista sprawling, Jordan pauses, breath clouding air. That offer? Best risk I took. I pull him close, wind our witness. Mine too. Wouldn't trade a syllable. Kitsch tin fades to cadence, but emotion endures. Raw in arguments over thermostats, profound in hospital waits, romantic in stolen glances across crowded rooms. Value human? In connections that weather, loves that lift, lives that light paths for followers. As twilight drapes, we descend, steps synced, futures unfolding like well-worn pages. From bank doors to boundless skies, our tale whispers, dare the offer, embrace the unknown. For in refusal's shadow blooms the extraordinary, love, unyielding, eternal. Epilogue whispers in winter's hush, snow veiling the city like forgotten secrets. Jordan and I, silvered and sage, host Haven's annual gala, fundraiser for youth shelters, chandeliers twinkling over tables laden with confections from Kai's legacy. Speeches flow, mine weaving our origin, a rainy dash to loans, kisses in alleys, battles birth bonds. Laughter ripples, eyes misty, Jordan's hand anchors mine, thumb circling rings groove, a morse of enduring. Post-revelry, we slip to the rooftop, our private perch, strings of lights a constellation. City below pulses, alive with possibilities we once chased. 60 years, he says, voice gravel soft, pulling me into waltz's sway. No music but memory. And I go back, for that desk that you. I laugh, forehead to his. Foolish boy. But truth thrums. Youth's fire tempered to glow, passions blaze to hearth warm. We've mentored legions, loans landed, dreams docked. Our story syllabus in diversity texts, film adaptation in whispers, rights pending, ethics clause ironclad. Dawn's edge gilds horizons as we linger, breaths clouding in tandem. Challenges? Faded to footnotes. Health managed, bigotries battle back. Grandkids scamper Haven's floors, inheriting sass and solidarity. Mia's firm litigates for rights. Leo's tech connects hearts global. Yet core remains. That hook's pull offers gravity. Loves drama, not plot twists, but quiet acts. Coffee brewed bedside, hands held through scans, apologies aired over dawn walks. Human worth? In ripples, one loan lending courage, one kiss kindling kinships, one union underscoring we're worthy, holy. Wind stirs, carrying chimes chime. Jordan kisses my temple, eternal. Can't refuse forever. I smile, heartful. Good. Eternity suits us. And so, in New York's endless narrative, our chapter closes not with fanfare, but fade. A life loaned, loved, lived without regret. The best offers? Those that rewrite refusals into revelations, binding souls in indelible ink.